know how you had said that you had your resolution to read more books?
Uh-huh.
How's that going?
I've started the book. So, like, we're doing the book club thing. It's just been pushed back.
Sure.
Just because of, me feeling like I was dying and other things in other people's lives.
Right.
But I'm reading. So.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was going to say, just because I haven't seen a book sitting out yet, so I was like,
It's in my room. I do have the book.
Okay.
It's in my room.
Okay.
We're working on it.
Sure. Well, if you guys ever get bored, have you ever thought about reading the Animorphs books?
Oh my god, the Animorphs books.
Did you ever read the Animorphs books?
Dude, yeah, like, oh my god. So in, like, elementary school, I guess kind of middle school too, because I went, like, to the same school from, like, kindergarten through 8th grade.
Mm-hmm.
Did you guys have, like, your specials classes, like music and art? And,
yeah.
Was library one of those for you too?
Yeah, I had library on Tuesdays.
Okay, it was like, it would always be like, yeah, we want the Animorphs books or we want some Goosebumps.
Okay. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
See, I had never read Animorphs when I was a kid. I was told it was a boy book.
What?
I was told that Animorphs was a boy book. So I was like, well, I don't want to read fucking boy books. I want to read a girl book. And to be fair, like, we also went to school and, like, well, elementary school, at least for me, was like 98 to 2004. Like 1998 to 2004. So, people were a little more gung-ho about boys like trucks and Hot Wheels and Ninja Turtles and girls like dresses and dolls. You don't intermix. What's this non-binary shit? Like,
I mean,
they did not.
I was kind of a tomboy though in that period anyway, so I'm kind of like, I don't care. I want to read the book with the weird cover.
That's true. See, but like I said, at least how I grew up, it was boys are the ones playing video games. You're gonna get this candle making set like you're a fucking colonial bitch. And I'm like 8 years old. Like, what the fuck am I gonna do with this wax? I don't think I ever even used it. But anyways, this is nothing to do with candle making. This has everything to do with Animorphs.
Okay.
So again, I never read an Animorphs book in my life. I never watched Animorphs. But I was
that's right. It was a TV show.
Yeah. And so I was scrolling through Twitter. First of all, I found out that there's 54 Animorphs books.
I didn't think there were that many.
Yeah, well, congratulations. Now
the more you know.
54 Animorphs books. And number 2, some of these Animorphs books have the craziest plot lines like I've ever seen in like children's literature.
Like, I don't remember the plot of any of them. I just remember they would like turn into animals or something.
Sure. Well, hey, give me a number from 1 to 54 and I'll give you a plot line.
27.
27. What the fuck? I thought you were going to go low. It's
no,
fine.
that was the first number that came to mind.
It's
Why?
fine.
I don't know.
Okay. That's all right. We're almost there. 25, 26, and oh shit, that's the end of the Twitter thread. 27. Here we go.
Okay.
Book number 27 is The Exposed.
Okay.
This person just summarizes the plot and says, remember the pacifist robot dogs? They have a ship on the bottom of the ocean and it looks like Snoopy from the Peanuts.
What?
That's the plot summary. So, like, here, let me give you a really good one.
Okay.
I think this is Animorphs. This is Animorphs episode 12, The Reaction.
Okay.
Due to a sci-fi allergic reaction.
What?
Rachel gives birth to a crocodile just before she's about to go on a talk show with dollar store Jonathan Taylor Thomas.
What the hell?
Right? Isn't that crazy?
Dude, I can't even. Okay, so she gave birth to a crocodile before going on a talk show.
With discount Jonathan Taylor Thomas.
That is a very specific plot point.
and then let me give me another number.
15.
15. Awesome. Episode 15. The Escape, which I actually remember this book. It's the one where the kid morphs into the shark.
Oh, the shark kid.
I remember the cover of this book because I was like, haha, look at the third one, like the third head. His head looks funny. I remember being a kid thinking it was so funny. So anyways, episode 15, The Escape. The Yerks are running experiments on sharks by implanting sci-fi devices in their heads. The Animorphs accidentally get these devices implanted in them, and if they morph anything relatively small, their heads will explode.
What? Okay, so what the hell is a sci-fi device? What does that even mean?
They're like, hey kids, we're gonna put this microchip in you. We're gonna put this vaccine in you called COVID-19.
Oh my god.
I mean, it's either that or those like beetles you can find in Legend of Zelda. I don't know.
God, dude, I don't know either. I'm just like, what the fuck is a sci-fi device? What does that even mean?
Right? Well, hey, speaking of sci-fi devices.
Uh-huh.
Hey, everyone. Welcome to the 8th inaugural episode of the Between the Fridges podcast. My name is Carly.
And I'm Amanda. And I'm back.
Yeah, bitch. She's not dead.
I'm not dying.
Hey, Google, play Not Dead Yet by insert artist here.
I don't know.
Were you singing Afro Circus?
I don't know what I was singing.
Very cool. Yeah. Oh my god. So, anyways, I just thought we could throw out the intro. And yes, Amanda's not dead. You guys don't have to worry about rotating guests anymore.
I mean, we'll still have our friends on, but I'm glad to be back. Thank you, Jeff. Thank you, Noah. I appreciate you guys filling in while I was not good.
Yes. Thank you to the pal and the boy for joining me.
For coming in clutch.
Yes. So, anyways, Animorphs. Because I know, like I said, the reason why I'm bringing this up is because you had talked about it in the first episode. I was like, I want to read more. And I saw there were 54 books, and I was like, man, if this tweet would have came up like a month ago, I would have been like, that's it. I'm reading every Animorph book.
Every book this year.
Because some of this shit is so crazy.
It just sounds outrageous. Like, I don't feel like when I was reading this sounded this crazy. I don't remember them, obviously, because it's been since freaking elementary school.
Yeah,
but
there's a book with a plot line where one of the kids kills Adolf Hitler.
What? Yeah,
it's in the Animorphs subseries Megamorphs number 3. This kid named Tobias kills Adolf Hitler. Other highlights include things like fascist alternate timelines where the Animorphs are basically Nazis.
What
and this girl named Cassie morphing into a polar bear and attacking college students in the 1930s after they called her the N-word.
That I don't even know what to say about that. Like, holy shit. What?
Animorphs discussing anti-Semitism since 1995.
Damn.
Animorphs discussing racism since 1995. Animorphs discussing abortion and pregnancy since 1995. Thank you to the Crocodile Birth book.
That's so weird.
But I saw this and I said, I want to read all these books. But here's the thing. Here's the problem. I'm turning 30 in like 2 months. They cannot be catching my ass at the library going over to the children's section to grab my fucking Animorphs.
Dude, you can download the app. There's an app that can, like, you can check books out and stuff on for the library. Like, just because I was trying to look to, for the book club, I was trying to see if I could save a little money. So I was able to sign up. They sent me a digital card and then they sent me a real library card in the mail because I have no idea what happened to my library card from like forever ago. Because I had my like little old library card from back in the day, but I don't know what happened to that. But like you can download the app. I don't remember what it's called right now, but like you can punch in what you're looking for and they can show you where it's at and all that fun stuff.
That's good to know because imagine imagine
You walk in to the downtown library and are like, "Excuse me, sir, can you direct me to the children's book section? I'm looking for some Animorphs."
Yeah, I was gonna say, imagine my ass like getting out of the makeup store after working an 8-hour day on a Saturday, walking over to the branch that's nearby, walking in and being like, "Hey, you got any of them Animorph books?
I mean,
I'm trying to read the one where the girl bursts a crocodile out her back while she's morphing into a grizzly bear."
they're gonna look at you like, "Is this girl on something?"
They're like, "No, it's for my kid."
I got allergies.
Meanwhile, I'm like, I need to catch up so I can read, get to one Animorph book a week. Like, speaking of morphing, while you were sick and dying, the Super Bowl happened.
The Super Bowl did happen.
But obviously, we don't care about the Super Bowl. Hey, spoiler alert: the Chiefs won. All right,
Yeah, whoop-de-doo.
All right, we can move on from this segment. Just kidding. Obviously, we're not here to talk about that. I'm here to talk about Rihanna and her sperm dancers.
Yeah. Oh my god. Okay, so like, did you watch her performance at all?
Yes, I did. I actually watched it as a bootleg on Twitter.
You know what? Valid. I was watching the Super Bowl, and then I got tired and was like, I'm going to bed because I have to work tomorrow. So I like looked up her halftime show on YouTube the next day, and I'm like, okay. What were your thoughts?
I really liked it. Okay. I know that there's like some people are like, she didn't do enough, and I'm like, if she's pregnant, what did you expect her to do? Like break dance on her belly? Like break dance on the new baby? It was like, hey girl, then do spins. Like she's a spinning top, and her her pregnant belly is the top bottom. I'm like, what the fuck do you expect her to do? She's like, she's fucking pregnant on a platform. My ass would have broken that shit. Oh my god. She's doing what she can. Did it sound like she was singing all the time? No, because I know she can't hit that note during work. But she hit it during the Super Bowl, and I was like,
absolutely.
I sat there, I like looked at it, and I rewound it, and I was like, is she half lip syncing? Which is fine. I don't fucking care if you lip sync or not. I feel like we're past the age of people caring whether or not. Well, okay, at least I'm past the age of people, like, of me caring whether or not people are lip syncing during performances.
Right. Honestly, it's like, who gives a shit? At this point, y'all have put your shit out into the world. Like, you're making money. You're out here hopping on platforms and
the Ashley Simpson lip sync when she was on that one talk show.
Yeah.
Icon. Honestly, where she pulls away and they keep singing, and I'm like, oh,
no,
but
like,
then everybody like crucified her like she was the worst person alive. I'm like
she's the only person that's ever done that. Absolutely not.
Yeah, like who fucking
not
cares?
The first, won't be the last.
Exactly. So, anyways, Rihanna. I think the performance was really fun. The backup dancers, I loved all the dancers. The fits. Like, I love Rihanna's, like, red getup, with the, as I've seen many times, they've called them the white sperms. I was like, oh my god, period core, like, we got the tampons coming to save the blood from dripping all over the place.
I've definitely seen some stuff like that on TikTok. People making videos with jokes about, oh my god, got my period, but here are my tampons. It's okay.
But, oh my god, yeah. And I feel like, I mean, there's people that are complaining. They're like, why the fuck didn't she sing Ponder Replay? And I'm like, that's your biggest concern?
Right.
That she didn't sing a song for when she was 16? And they're like, but that's her biggest hit. And I'm like,
not really.
And I'm like, I'm about to give you your biggest hit. Ooh, pow! That's a number one.
Oh my god.
But yeah, so I loved the set list, how like, you know, one song just like went right into another, really seamlessly. And I do also understand why people kind of played with the rumor that Kanye West originally was supposed to be at the show, at the halftime show, because she did do a performance of All the Lights, which is synonymously a Kanye West song featuring Rihanna, but she performed All the Lights. So I wouldn't be surprised if originally, before all of the, that she had planned for Kanye to be there, and the set list was done and whatever, and just be like, no, I don't want to fucking have you.
Right.
But it was still very good. I do like, I think one of my favorite parts in the halftime show was when they were doing All of the Lights, and they had, like, everybody, like, dancing on the ground, but then they had a few on the platforms. And there was one point where they all, like, do, like, a little freestyle dance. And one of the backup dancers ended up doing a TikTok dance.
Yes, I've seen that video. Everybody's like, who is this person?
And then there's people, like, putting on all white outfits and being like, oh my God, I can't believe Rihanna let me keep the marshmallow suit.
Yes, I've seen those
ones too. And then they're doing the TikTok dance and people are like, oh my God, it's you. And I'm like, no, it's not. No, it can't be all of them doing the same dance, girl.
No.
Oh my God, no, it was so good. I do appreciate though that okay, it's less of an appreciation, but more of like a note. So also while you were gone, the Grammys happened.
Yes.
So the Grammys happened, and the one thing of note, what do you think is the one thing of note that I'm going to note for this that you think correlates
with all this?
Yes.
Are you talking about Harry's acceptance speech?
No.
But
that is a whole other thing that we could talk about. No, I'm actually talking about the Sam Smith Kim Petras performance.
Oh.
Yes. So, how Sam Smith was wearing like the red getup.
Yeah, like his whole red getup.
And Rihanna was wearing the red getup. And a bunch of people I saw online in certain sectors being like, this is the devil. The devil's here. And he's taking form in Sam Smith and Rihanna.
Oh my God.
And I'm like, what do Sam Smith and Rihanna have to do with the devil's plan?
Nothing. Not a damn thing.
Unless his favorite song is Work by Rihanna, then like
couldn't tell you. Don't know.
It's just, oh my God. It's like, but what did you think? Enough about my thoughts on the performance. What were your thoughts?
So I watched it, obviously. I watched
did?
it on YouTube. And okay, I just wanted to like take it in because it's like, girl did it. Girl slayed. Did a great job.
Right.
I'm thinking about it as a normal, average, everyday person. Like, I am not a performer nor a singer by any means.
Right.
I could not put on a show like that.
Right.
You given, and all the things that could possibly have happened to you have to account for that, even if you don't think they're going to happen. People were on platforms and shit. They had the runway, they had the dancers, timing, all of it.
The one kid almost fell.
Exactly. I see that. It's like, yes, they're strapped in, but it's like people could have had accidents. Things could have happened. And speaking of the Grammys, like, it made me think of back to Harry's performance. They were having issues with the platform, right? Wasn't that a thing?
Yes, it was, because originally it was supposed to, I don't know exactly what way it was supposed to go, but originally it was supposed to go clockwise, and like the dancers had been practicing for weeks,
right,
with the platform going clockwise, and when his performance started, the platform went counterclockwise. So you can see him as they're like panning up the camera. He looks hella confused. But like they had to troubleshoot in the moment because they're like, shit, they're not like, I think you can see when they're panning up the camera, you can see Harry doing a like a hand signal, being like, it needs to go the other way. But they didn't do anything. So in the span of like 10 seconds, from noticing that the platform is going the opposite direction, trying to notify, hey, this is going the wrong way,
Right.
and then going, fuck it. All of the dancers had to do the dance in not reverse, but in the opposite direction.
Right.
So everything that they had been practicing for weeks, improv had to like turn around. So like, not to excuse that really, really hard beginning note at the beginning of that performance, but I'm sure that was just like, oh, like I'm nervous. What the fuck is happening? And then people are like, yeah, his performance was ass. I'm like, yeah, it really wasn't the greatest, but also like that context of he was kind of panicking in the moment. This is his big performance at the Grammys, and everything's fucked up and everything's wrong. Yeah,
Right. No, I guess that's my perspective. It's like, okay, there's so much built into these sets and performances. It's like, again, as a normal, average, everyday person that does not have a career like that, anything can go wrong. Like, there can be technical difficulties. People's mics can't be working. Like, lights might not be working. Like, you know, people might mess up. Things happen. It's just life. So, I mean, I give her props. You know, people just may not have been like, this is what I wanted to see, but girl served. She did a great job. She's fucking pregnant. She's like working, doing this whole show, like about to expand her family by a whole other tiny human. Like, that's a lot of stress on your body, first off. So for her to just be like continuously going like that, that's a lot of physical things that are demanded of her. So I think she did a great job. She handled things great. Like, I thought it was a great performance. Again, you talked about transitions. Perfect. Overall, clean show. Did well. What I expect from a Super Bowl performance.
Yeah.
Like, and I know those people that were probably complaining like, oh, she didn't do this song or she didn't do that. Or like, I don't know, maybe they're thinking of like fucking fire cannons or like Lady Gaga doing flips from the harness or something. But like, you cannot compare anyone's performances at the halftime show to someone else's.
You kind of can.
Because, I mean, hear me out. So, like, in context, everyone has a different style and performance.
Right.
And I guess, level of talent and professionalism that they put forward. But this person is not going to put the same exact show on as X, Y, and Z person. So, I guess that's my point. But yeah, the little marshmallow suits were cute. I thought they were adorable.
Shout out to the dancers. Those bitches, like, they were just like the dancing. It was so tight. It was so clean. Like, so good.
It synced up really well.
Just, and I loved the section in the performance of when they did work. When they were crawling on the platform following Rihanna, and then Rihanna turns around and everybody else is kind of like still on the ground, but the one guy like gets up and flashes his jacket at her, and I was like, I love that. Like,
it was a cool moment.
I think I've seen that moment like 100 times, and I'm like, it's still so good to me. And also, I mean, obviously, Rihanna looked good. I noticed the Fenty plug. When she was in the middle of her performance,
like,
that somebody holds out the Invisimat, which, by the way, is a really great blotting powder. It's not just.
She's like, excuse me, gotta
Fenty's
makeup
like,
great.
Like, and to me, like, I know like a lot of people, very much like they hold like Beyonce to this like super high pedestal. She's extremely hyped, and it's very, very well deserved. Rihanna's my Beyonce. Like, Rihanna can't do anything wrong to me. Like, Rihanna to me cannot do wrong at all. She could kill a man in the street, and I'm like, I hope he was white.
It was like, oh, it's fine, it's excused.
Yeah, like, all good to me. And also working at a makeup store, working at a cosmetic store, the influence she's had on the music industry has been super powerful. And on top of that, again, the influence she's had on the beauty industry has been absolutely phenomenal. She was one of the first major brands to have a foundation drop. Like, her first drop as a cosmetics company was 40 shades of foundation. 40.
That's impressive.
And they ended up extending that line as well. So there's more shade range. There's more options for people. They make it really easy. Like the foundation I wear right now is the Fenty Ease Drops. I've been wearing Fenty strictly as foundation for years. And the Ease Drops, what's really cool about them, because they're like a skin tint.
That's cool.
What's really cool, because there's less of a range, but you don't have to like, obviously you're not like applying a whole bunch like you would a foundation. So it's on their website. It's like, okay, if you are shade 1 in the Fenty Ease Drops, this is the range of like soft matte foundation or whatever that you should be falling into. If you're a shade 2, you should be like, okay. So like if you're a shade 1, you would be shade 100 to 130 in the soft matte foundation. If you are shade 2 in the Ease Drops, you're probably going to be 140 to 170. Like, very easy conversions. It's very easy to understand. Her shit just mwah. It's just so good. So to me, the whole point of all this is Rihanna is my Beyonce, and she can't do anything wrong. And if there ever is another album that comes out, I will be front and center, and I will be making an entire podcast episode about it.
You know what? That's so valid, and I support you. Most definitely. So I guess it's not really like, it wasn't actually broadcasted like on the screen during her performance, but I guess just one thing that I thought was cool. So they had an interpreter.
I saw that.
Girl killed it. Her name is Justina Miles, and I was very interested in this because, obviously, given the population I work with, like I work for a local nonprofit with intellectually disabled people, individuals. So like just seeing that as representation for people, to have that to look forward to, I thought was really cool. Cause I guess like she practiced with them and rehearsed with them. And I favorited a video on TikTok. I was like, girl goes into it. She's not just signing. She's like vibing.
Yeah. I saw an interview with her too, where she was talking about how she was practicing with them, and she was like, not just signing the words, but also signing the beat.
Yes.
So that people could like kind of see the beat and listen, like hear her words. The one thing that like really sucked about it, and it's nothing against her, was the fact that like deaf people and hard of hearing people had to like download a separate app.
Right. I think they were like streaming on YouTube or something. Yeah. Maybe.
So
I don't remember completely.
Yeah. So that they could watch it. And it's like, at least to me, why not just put her in the corner?
That's what I was thinking. I didn't know if like because they used to do that with like different things. Because I remember that being a thing from, different other shows and things when I was younger. I don't know if like regulations or things are different now, but I don't see as why they couldn't have just, thrown a little box up on the screen so you can simultaneously see what's going on. It just makes sense to me, Yeah, that was really weird when I found that out, because I was like, well, why isn't this on the original video? That was my question. Right.
Why isn't this on the videos that I'm watching of the halftime show? And I was like, oh, it's because it literally was not aired on television. You had to like download an app or go find a YouTube video with it. And so like it was a really great moment for like, especially for like deaf people, like, hey, you get to see in the moment.
Absolutely.
However, you had to jump through all these hoops just to find where that interpreter like find the interpreter.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah, she was so good.
A girl was with it, and I saw she was on, I don't know, I think it was one of like the daytime TV shows, like that interview you were talking about. I don't remember who was interviewing her.
Hoda.
Oh, it was Hoda? Okay, girl.
It was Hoda.
But no, I was like, this is cool. Like, I wish we would be able to kind of see more of this stuff in the mainstream, like, front line of things. So I just thought that was a cool little thing. I was like, yeah, girl, go off. Look at you go.
Speaking of going off, you heard about everything going on in Kentucky recently?
Oh my, okay, so I've seen things, but I mean, as you know, I've been working literally a shit ton of hours. So I've literally gone to work, come home, chilled out, and gone to bed.
Yeah. So before I even get started stating what I am about to, I just want to give a little bit of a preface, I guess is the best thing to say. So, and anything that I say, like, please correct me, or if you're like, that's not my thinking of things, what are you talking about? Because I'm also going to make it very general.
Right.
So, in our past, not even in our past. So the way Amanda and I met was through a Christian evangelical young adults group. That's how we became friends. We are no longer a part of this group. We are no longer a part of this organization of thought and thinking. But at least I am still like friends with people on like social media, only on social media of, you know, I'm just kind of nosy. I just want to see what's going on.
Which is valid. That's what, you know.
So, the rest of this episode, I would say, is going to basically be bashing Christian evangelicals. And if that is not your thing, that's totally fine.
We respect that.
We will see you in the next episode, or never again if you're like, absolutely not. Totally understand that. So I just wanted to make sure at least that was out there. We were practicing evangelical Christians. We are no longer practicing evangelical Christians. This is a conversation about Christian evangelicalism and radical evangelicalism that is happening in the now, and we just thought it would be interesting to talk about it. So with that, the motherfucking Asbury University revival happening right now. Like, ugh.
I will be honest, like I said, I just know that it's happening, but I'm not sure about the ins and outs right now just because I haven't had time to research anything.
Yeah. So as of today, the date of recording right now is the 19th, February 19th. So we're recording a little bit later than we normally would. So by the time this posts, it's going to be February 21st. So Asbury University, obviously a university in Kentucky. I'm pretty sure. Here I am the whole time being like, yeah, it's in Wilmore, Kentucky.
I was going to say, I think it's in Kentucky because one of the girls I used to work with back in college at the restaurant.
You can mention it was Chick-fil-A.
Anyways, yes. So at the Chick-fil-A,
yes,
back in college, I used to work with one of these girls, and she was originally from Kentucky, from around that area, and she's back there now. I can't remember if she's finishing up school or whatnot because it's been a bit. But she posted on her Snapchat because she was there and a part of the whole thing, and I was like, okay, you're there. That's not entirely surprising. But yeah, that's a thing.
Yeah, so I didn't want to deep dive too much into like articles and stuff because number one, it was going to fuck up my algorithm.
Oh yeah.
The more that I was diving into it. So I'm really relying on Wikipedia. And they give a really nice summary of it anyways.
Well, that's helpful.
Number two, any of the articles that I had seen about it were like not objective. They were not just explaining what's happening. They were like, this is like really fucking cool. And I'm like, I don't care. Like, I just want to know what the fuck is happening. I don't want to know that you had a girl sitting there who pretended to be a demon that you say is a real demon that got exorcised in the middle of day 7. Like, I don't care. So basically what's going on is, so this started on February 8th. Today is day 12 or 13.
Damn.
This is like the last, not even the last. This is like the last like public service that they're allowing. So it started on February 8th. They have like church services that the students are required to go to every week and things like that. Most like religious colleges, I think we have a couple of religious colleges in the area that require like church attendance. Or like,
I know the one that I graduated from did not. Like, you had to take certain courses, like, because they had like a core studies thing. So you had to take like your basic intro courses. And yes, you did have to take, I think, 2 religious courses for that, just because of the roots of the university. But about the other university, I do not know.
So these guys, it's like required.
Okay, which I mean, it's kind of probably one of those more private, like, you have to, this is required type deal. Okay.
So on the 8th of February, they had a morning service like normal, but a bunch of undergraduate students remained in the auditorium following the conclusion of the morning service for prayer. But then, since they stayed, there was a report about a revival happening in their student newspaper, and then it just like spread through social media. A side note as well, a lot of people are pointing similarities out to a similar revival that happened in at Asbury University in 1970. This is the last time. Well, 1970 was the last year that they had like a quote unquote revival, and it's happening again, and so people are like, oh my god, this is what happened the last time. So students remained in the auditorium throughout the night, like February 9th. The revival continued into the second day. The crowd kind of dropped at its lowest point to like 50 people in the chapel, but it ended up turning into this like 24-hour non-stop worship service. Students were setting up coffee stations. Non-students, there were some non-students that were present, but the majority of them ended up being the student body. And the event started receiving local news coverage on February 10th.
Gotcha.
And there were pictures that were showing up online that were showing the chapel at its capacity. And, the 11th, like February 11th, they had, February 11th, there was more, like, people coming. They had to start setting up overflows, like overflow seating areas. Buses and vans started showing up from other churches and religious organizations on the 12th, and they started opening up even more overflow areas. The 13th, apparently a couple other colleges like Virginia Theological and Cedarville University were holding their own services and responses to the revival. On February 14th, there's reported 22 other institutions traveling to Asbury for the revival. More colleges are getting involved, essentially. On the 15th, it gets picked up by the Washington Post. And then the original auditorium, Hughes Auditorium, was closed off by Asbury students to all people 26 and over. And that was a decision made to prioritize the voices of Gen Z. On the 15th, there was more people, like Samford University. On the 16th, they banned live streaming in the auditorium. And then they started establishing like a set schedule published on their website. And the university marked the 24th as an end date for services held on Asbury's campus. And then the 17th, they opened it up to the public again, to people up to age 25. On the 18th, so yesterday, the school started reporting security concerns over, quote, tens of thousands of visitors heightened by both government and Asbury officials. This is today, the 19th is the last day for church services to the public, and then they're going to kind of dwindle it out to the end of the week, so that they can kind of relocate it, essentially.
Gotcha.
But the big reason why I think we wanted to talk about it is because, as far as we know, there are 2 people that we know from our area that traveled to Asbury and are like live streaming and taking videos and whatever, and both of them are in like their 30s and 40s. So like, to me, first of all, do not belong there. You do not belong in a college campus at 40 fucking years old.
No, you don't.
Let them do their shit, but this is just another way, yet again, of people in older generations trying to usurp what's going on with younger people. Now, I can sit here and I can clown on a Christian man all day. But also, what the fuck are you doing at 40-something years old traveling down to a college just because you think the voice of God told you to leave?
Yeah. And it's like, sir, you yourself, you have children that are college age. Like, that's got to be strange for your kids. Just like, oh, I'm going. See you later.
It's just so weird to me. Like, let the college kids have their thing. You had your time. You had your time being a young adult. It's time.
We've heard all about it.
It's time being 45. It's time to be an adult now. You don't need to travel to colleges. And that's not just the one guy. There's a girl too.
Yeah, and she's our age.
And
maybe a little older. I'm not even sure.
She is older than us. Okay. And she traveled down there. And she's like, I can't wait to feel the sense of God. And I'm like, dude, what the hell? Like,
let the generation have their time.
But it's not even just that. Like, so there have been reports coming out from the security offices of Asbury. So Wilmore, Kentucky, where Asbury University is located, I think has a population of like 6,000 people.
Oh, so they're tiny.
And there are people like those 2 who traveled down there. And now there's tens of thousands of people that are either there or trying to get in. And security and the police department down there have reported that there are more people in the town right now than there are bathrooms.
That is crazy to me.
And that people are like parking in people's yards and people's driveways without permission to go to this thing, because apparently they think that everybody that lives in this city is like fully like Christian enough to be like, yeah, everybody come park in my garage. I don't have a job to do.
Right. These people in this town, they still have to work. They still have to live. Like, function in their own community. And people are just coming in like, oh, I don't need respect. It's fine.
Right. And it's just like, reading that, I was like, that's kind of fucking gross. Like, especially like, I understand like the people that live in the city or whatever wanting to get involved, or people that are like a little bit outside of it. But there's people driving like 6, 10, 12 hours.
Yeah.
I saw somebody say that they were from the Netherlands.
What?
They took a plane and they fucking came to Kentucky. And like, what the hell are you doing?
That's definitely out there.
Yeah, and especially after seeing the whole thing of like, yeah, there's so many fucking people here. And there's people parking in our driveways, and there's people doing this.
Mm-hmm.
It just reminded me of our time with the organizations that we were involved in, where, you know, people would go like, I would never participate in this stuff because I was like, yeah, well, number one, I had major social anxiety. So talking to a random person was like anxiety inducing for one thing.
Yeah, no.
But having to talk to a random person in the middle of a fucking Qdoba and be like, hey, you want to accept Jesus? That was like,
yeah, that
shit
stuff
myself.
was always a little like, I'm good, no thanks.
Yeah, like we had a couple times when we did like serving events and stuff like that, and I loved doing that. I would go to somebody's house and like paint their walls, or I remember one time like a group of us went to like one of the student centers or whatever and cleaned up this like rundown room and painted
like
over
helping
and
out
stuff.
your community.
That's what it should be about. Not,
Absolutely.
and it shouldn't, like, at least to me, it should not be with like a prerequisite of like, oh, I will clean this room for you, and I will paint the walls, and I will scrub it, and I will do all of this. However, you have to sit in Bible study with me for 30 minutes. Or like the one thing that I remember was one time a group of us after service went to a restaurant to get dinner, and we had like a regular waiter at this restaurant.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, I remember.
Shout out Jordan. I'm so sorry. Shout out Jordan at Eaton Park.
Even though you haven't been at Eaton Park in forever.
I'm sorry that you had to fucking deal with this shit. But these guys were like, I mean, I started going when I was 18, and I was like 19, 20 years old at the time, seeing these like fucking 30-year-olds throwing sugar packets.
It was embarrassing.
It was really, really fucking embarrassing. And then we'd all get our food. We all had to wait, essentially. And then we had to wait for everybody to get their food. And then I remember the one guy, the same guy that is down at Asbury right now, being like, oh, hey, do you want to like pray for our food? And the guy's like, I don't know, like I don't practice, like I'm good, like you guys can do that. And he's like, come on, pray for our food. And then there's like 20 of us there, and like everybody's trying to pressure this guy and like praying for
it was awkward.
It was so weird. And I'm like sitting like way in the back, and I'm like, oh,
what was crazy is when some people, like, after all the bullshit, like, y'all are making messes and throwing sugar packets and acting like children when most of us were younger than you guys at 30 at that time.
Right.
Like, and some of y'all aren't even, like, tipping him.
Yeah.
So it's like, I would always give him, I wasn't, like, rich by any means, but I would always give him a couple extra dollars because people sucked.
Yeah, I would too. And I know, like, at least at my table area, like, if any of those bitches were, like, throwing sugar packets and shit, I would take I would pick up the area and clean it up really nice. And then, like, if they were extra rowdy, I would go and apologize to the waiter myself.
Right. Stack the plates, clean it up, like, make it look nice. Because it was, like, I bussed for my, like, first job out of high school. So I was like, y'all are just leaving a mess for this man. And I still do that at like every restaurant I go to. I leave things nice. I leave them organized because I would never want to push that on somebody else because that's rude.
Yeah. And it was always just so frustrating to me. So when I read that earlier of just like, hey, the security being like, there's tens of thousands of people here. There's more people here than bathrooms. Like, it's disrespectful. And I mean, and I know that I think my frustration towards it, I know, is just because of like our experience. Who knows?
Right.
Maybe the people of Wilmore do not care. Maybe they're like, yeah, sure, we don't care. Park in our yard. Park in our
their
grass.
view could be very different than ours. We don't know that.
Yeah, park in our driveway. But like, it's also just like so. It's one thing to be like, hey, this inspired me to start my own revival worship service or whatever. If you're feeling the pull of God or whatever, do your own worship service in your own city. But it's another thing to be like, I'm 45 years old with a job and a family to take care of, and I'm gonna pack my shit and drive down to a college of people ages 18 to 23 years old, and I'm going to see if I can assimilate myself and feel whatever the fuck is going on here.
Well, low-key, like, the way I kind of feel about it, like, knowing him and, you know, having our experiences with him in the past, and I mean, you know, not one to judge, but just how it's coming across is, okay, your thing you had here, your group, your project, is disbanded. It is no longer.
And this could also just go with anybody in general. So I just love how this is essentially just like a shit talking episode.
No, it's not trying to be that way. It's just, again, just based on my brain, from our experience, it's like, okay, are you essentially trying to chase your high of what you had when you were here at that time period, trying to essentially relive your glory days, or are you just, you know, doing what you say? Yes, God told me to go, blah, blah, blah. Like, you can't have it both ways.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, exactly.
Like, I guess that's just the justification point of it.
Yeah.
So.
And like, the couple of like live streams and people that I've like read from of like what they're experiencing from it, and they're like, yo, it's like so crazy because like they don't have like projectors. They don't have projectors, and they don't have like a band or anything like that. It's just like a bunch of college kids and like fucking a grand piano and an acoustic guitar and a cajon, and they're just like loving God. And I'm like, oh, so what are you trying to tell people? That the churches that we have in the area that have the screens and the bands and whatever, that those are synthetic experiences of God? So are you telling me that your church is a synthetic experience of God because your church has a big screen and your church has a not a grand piano, your church has a full band and screens and lights and all this stuff, and now you're over here going, oh, but like this is different because they have like no screens in the chapel and they have just a couple of kids with a cajon and a grand piano and a guitar, and you can just feel the presence of God in there. I'm like, get the fuck out of here. Like, you could be doing the same exact thing, but you're not, and therefore you're essentially calling anybody with that stuff like mechanical or just like synthetic experiences of God, which they are, but
right, in a way, essentially, you're like, okay, you're comparing and contrasting the two things. So you're belittling people that you don't even know and passing judgment on them.
And to be fair, this was the same person and group that would shit on millennials and be like, millennials are just like so fucking lazy and just like don't love God as much and blah, blah, blah. And like Gen Z, they just are like the information age and they just like fucking suck. Like, these are the same type of people that have been shitting on younger generations like millennials and Gen Z for years and years and years.
Exactly.
But now, because there is something happening that aligns to what you want or what you are interested in,
you're grasping
now
onto it.
Gen Z is so powerful and amazing and are world changers and blah blah blah, and it's just ass backwards thinking of like, I'm not going to be interested in the movements and the changes that Gen Z and millennials have been making. I'm not going to be interested in it unless it aligns with my Christian worldview.
Right. And I understand with getting more information and people's views changing over time. That I understand.
Ours have changed like fucking crazy.
Absolutely. The more information you have, the more, you know, you take in, you eventually go on your own journey of self-discovery, and there's no timeline for that. But I feel like the fact that people are just jumping onto this and latching onto this, it says more about essentially them and their own insecurities and their own generation, because, oh, this fits my narrative now. This fits what I want and what I think this view should be. So yeah, gas them up, give them all the compliments, sure. But the second things change and it's not inside your box or inside your circle of what you think things should look like for your evangelical Christian views, then you're just like, oh, well, you know, it was nice while it lasted, but we fell short. Now we got to take the reins and blah, 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 and perpetuate whatever they want and go out into the community and shape it how they see fit type deal.
Right. Yeah, and it's very much like, oh yeah, like Gen Z is such like world changers, and like millennials are such world changers, and they're just here to change the world. And then they realize it's like, oh, they helped an LGBT person get money for rent this month, and they're like, you're fucking supporting heresy and you're gonna go to hell. It just, seeing all of this, I know at least for me, like seeing the people that we know that are traveling down there that should not be there, seeing the responses from different Christian leaders and stuff like that, and just like various like evangelical leaders in general that like I know I've looked up to and have been like, oh, they're like really good people and all this stuff. It's been really frustrating, especially like in the past, I'd say less than 10 years. So like ever since 2016, we know what happened, but ever since 2016, a lot has changed when it comes to Christian evangelicals and everything. And it just seems like some of the people that became really radicalized in 2016 saw this going on, they're grasping onto it, and they're like, well, I need to experience this and blah blah blah, and like, because we haven't felt God in this country and blah blah blah. And it's just, I think at least for me, it's just brought up a lot of mixed feelings. Some things that I've seen have been really funny, but some things that I've seen, I'm looking and just been like, this is really disappointing.
Right.
It's just a very confusing amalgamation of feelings of, you know, let these people do their thing, but also I'm seeing like a 50-year-old man like front and center.
Oh, he's just like going up in age.
Like, no, I'm not talking just about him. I'm talking about just a regular fucking 50-year-old man.
And just some rando.
Front and center being like, I've never felt God like this before. And it's like, why can't you do that in your own city, Philip? Like, don't you have a fucking 401k? Don't you have an insurance job to fucking go to? That's a whole nother thing. The whole thing of like, I remember when we had like a whole month talking about like millennials and basically why they suck.
Right. Just like, yeah, let's pick us apart. That's cool.
And I remember like, well, Republicans have said it, evangelical Christians have said it, of how like the liberals will find any way to get out of work, and the liberals will find any way to not like do a job. Meanwhile, I'm like, why the fuck are you driving down to a college for church service? Don't you have taxes to do, Billiam? Like,
right. And then it's like, you have us over here. It's like, okay, y'all are coming for people like that. You got you over here working 2 jobs. You got me over here working like 40 to 60 hours a week, depending on the overtime. Like, please tell us that we're not going to work and try to pay our bills. Please tell us we're trying to get out of work.
And you're over here singing songs about Jesus, watching a lady who may or may not be possessed by a demon get exorcised.
Well, what I get with that too, because I remember, you know, all the different things we would have at that time. And they're just like, oh, the church isn't a building. You guys are the church. So it's like, okay, why are y'all traveling down hours away to a space when it's been hammered into
why aren't you being the church?
Why aren't you exactly? Why aren't you being the church where you are to people in your community? Like, crazy.
Well, I know where my church is. My church is the Church of Harry Edward Styles. Call me heretic. I don't care.
Oh my God.
Church gets up at 6 o'clock in the morning and sings watermelon sugar.
My God.
Watermelon sugar, hi. Watermelon sugar, what's up? Watermelon sugar, how you doing?
I guess the biggest thing for me with this too, it's like, you know, seeing people we interacted with at that time period and people you get to know, and just seeing the progression of things over the years. It's like, you know, they always say, don't meet your heroes. It's like, okay, well, your heroes can be your friends too. And just kind of seeing these people that you thought were just like, yeah, they love people. They do this, they do that. And then being blatantly disappointed when people are just off spewing hate because people are different or identify as X, Y, and Z. Like, okay, well, y'all are talking about how the Bible teaches you love and how you're supposed to love everyone. Then why are you out over here treating people nasty?
Yeah, like some of the people that I looked up to the most in that time are the people that are like, I love everyone unless you're gay or black or Muslim or gay or Indian or Mexican or Chinese or gay or gay and divorced.
Oh my God.
If you're gay and celibate, you're fine. But gay, go away. It just... Oh, or they don't like you if you wear a tank top. Like,
Oh my... Yeah. Honey, your bra straps are showing. Where's your modesty? My modesty left. Pardon my shoulders.
pardon my shoulders, I got a little cleavage going on recently.
It was like, oh, you're offended by my shorts? They're not even that short. They go to my knees.
My God. I mean, I'm sure, like, if people are interested or whatever, I'm sure we would definitely do, like, an episode or two about, like, our journeys through religion and, you know, I don't want to be like, I survived Christianity. Like, but essentially.
I mean, to be completely honest, you know, everybody goes through different journeys. And that, I am very grateful we met. I am very grateful we have become friends.
Me too.
Like, and that was just kind of part of the journey at the time. It's like I said, I know you really, you know, weren't raised in the church. And then I was raised Catholic. So, like, I wanted a different perspective on things and kind of to learn different things and be more informed because I didn't really have any friends in college at that point because it was like just like a turning point for me.
Right.
So I'm just like, you know, it's part of your journey. You discover things about yourself, you evolve, you change, you grow. And it's just sad to see that some of those people that we thought were very good people, unfortunately, turned out not to be that way. And the last 2 years and the pandemic and just how people treat each other because of said things has really shown people's true colors. And I think that's kind of what breaks my heart more than anything, just seeing the nastiness and the hate come out of people.
Yeah.
So.
Well, hey, on that morbid fucking note. Amanda, do you have anything to say before I shoot out our social media?
I'm happy to be back. I'm happy to hang out with you guys this week. I promise I'm going to try not to get sick again and die. But if I do, at least we know we have fun guests that are willing to come on and help us out. And I appreciate that. Yeah. So if y'all have made it this far, I hope you guys have a great week. And that's all for me.
Very cool. Well... again, thank you guys so much for joining us for the 8th inaugural episode of the Between the Fridges podcast. You can laugh if you want to. I see your face.
What's wrong with my face?
You just looked like you had a laugh coming out.
So
It was like,
it's better than me not being able to talk.
well, I was just like saying you're allowed to laugh. It's fine. Anyways, thank you guys so much for the 8th inaugural. Well, for coming to the 8th inaugural episode of the Between the Fridges podcast. If you guys do not already, feel free to follow us on Instagram at Between the Fridges. If you have any content suggestions or inquiries, I'm still waiting on a really fun fan fiction to read on this podcast. And as soon as I do get a nice one in our email, we will do a fan fiction episode. So if you would like that fan fiction episode to come sooner rather than later, or even if you have like questions about evangelical Christianity or religion or whatever, because we definitely do an episode about that. Feel free to send us your questions and inquiries and suggestions to betweenthefridges@gmail.com. Check our link tree in our Instagram bio or in the bio of this podcast to find everywhere else that you can find us. You can follow Amanda and myself on Instagram and TikTok and wherever. Yeah, and so be prepared for next week's episode where we indoctrinate you into evangelical Christianity. We're going to start with the book of Genesis. So with that, again, thank you guys so much. We love you very much. This was the 8th inaugural episode. My name is Carly.
I'm Amanda.
And we will see you all next week. No, you know what? If you could twerk to one song from our olden days, what would it be?
From our olden days?
Yeah.
Like any song in general?
Like one of the Christian worship songs that they would play during our 12-hour worship.
Man.
Imagine me cranking it back to Oceans.